Good evening, Australia. Welcome to Psyche TV International Thursday night. I am Michael Dimarco, and I'm pleased to have your company tonight. Please do like. I don't think there's anyone watching at this stage. How rude. Hopefully you do jump on because it's going to be a great show tonight. Do like and share if you do jump on. Let me just make sure we are streaming because we've been having actual issues in the past with the Saturday shows where they don't actually stream to the page. So let's just make sure that we are actually live. If you are there, please do say hello. Just double checking to make sure. Yes, that we're working. Sorry, I just got distracted for some reason. I can't get onto the actual Facebook page. I hope the Facebook page hasn't gone down. Bear with me. We're having some technical issues, I think. And I don't have production in the background tonight. How are you all? Hopefully you are. All right, let me just make sure we're streaming. I do apologize. I'm pretty sure we are. Yeah, it looks like we are. I can see us on the page. Okay. If you do jump on, say hello. It is a Thursday night. I have the beautiful Mermaid Medium. Hi, Anna. Good to see you there. You're, I think, the first one to jump on. Please do like and share this page. We want to reach as many people as we possibly can tonight. I have the absolutely gorgeous and a dear friend of mine, the Mermaid Medium, who will be joining us for a chat tonight. It's going to be a bit of a themed show. Mermaid has been on our show before to talk about her gifts and her skills. So we won't be doing that again. This time we're going to have a bit of a theme. And today's theme is going to be, we're going to be talking the idea of forgiveness, basically. So we're going to be talking about what that looks like. We'll go into a bit of details about how we can learn to sort of forgive ourselves and take a bit of the sort of pressure and expectations on daily lives that we do put on ourselves. But also to a big shout out to everyone who hopefully does end up watching tonight. But are you okay? That's just what I want to ask everyone today. Are you okay? And if you're not, that's okay. Let us know in the comments. But it is Are You Okay Day. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that and the mental health side of things as well. So it's going to be quite an informative heaviness, but also a lighthearted show as well. We're going to be talking about some serious topics tonight. So we do hope that you can feel safe. This is a safe space. We're going to be having some open and honest discussions tonight. We would love for you to get involved. If you have any questions for the Mermaid Medium, of course, we're not doing psychic readings tonight. It is purely just spiritual based questions. But of course, the theme tonight is Are You Okay? Being Are You Okay Day, and also forgiveness. But of course, anything else that you want to sort of ask as we get talking, if there's any questions that sort of come up during the show, if you want to ask the Mermaid Medium, if we can answer them, we definitely will try. Of course, if you do, because we're not doing psychic readings tonight, but if you would like a psychic reading, you can go to psychictvaustralia.com. We currently have Benjamin available on pin 9166, Judith Sky on pin 9125, and Natalie Norm Baker currently online on pin 9810. But of course, the fun is here. Once it starts to pick up, I'm really not sure where everyone, I think there must be like some game or something on. Maybe people are just, I don't know. But we're going to have a bit of a fun discussion. So welcome to Thursday night. Do like and share. Do comment. It's going to be a discussion-based show tonight. Like I said, we want everyone to get involved. So definitely say hello. I mean, that's a great start. And yeah, like I said, are you okay? Today is Are You Okay Day. And we're going to have a bit of a discussion. So let's bring on our beautiful guest of honor. Please welcome the Mermaid Medium.
Aloha.
Hello.
Aloha, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Good to see you. Good to see you again. I love your beautiful face. Every time you come on, you light up the line.
Always good to see you, my friend.
So people are, I think, of jumping on now. So Beth, good to see you. Bree, Michelle from Canada, good to see you there from Canada. Sorry, not well tonight. Hope you're well. It's okay. It's okay, Beth. We have days. I've had a week. Those that are part of the WhatsApp group will know what's been happening. So yeah, look, it's just an interesting time. We just had a blood full moon a few days ago. I think a lot of us are still. I know I'm still recovering from that. How about you?
It was we had a lunar eclipse full moon in Pisces, blood full moon.
Oh,
We
and
have
you're
got a
Pisces
lot.
too. So how did you cope?
Oh my goodness. I tell you
Did you
what,
survive?
Michael, I survived, but it was like these bombs were going off all around me. I would actually fireworks. I call them fireworks. So I had, lots of different things happening around me, but I sort of was able to remain calm and centered and like the eye of the storm. So I feel like I've
Okay.
actually progressed.
Did you set any intentions?
Oh, I set absolutely. I do moon ceremonies. I set intentions. I also, a big part of that energy was about releasing. Now, a full moon is not normally a time that we release. Usually that's the new moon phase. But this particular full moon, very much about that.
Oh, interesting. Why that? Why the change?
Because of what was being traversed astrologically, there were big energies that support end of era type things. So, highest timeline, end of era, closing old chapters, moving forward in an uninhibited way.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah, and it explains the entire. Like I said, I'm still. I feel like I'm still recovering from it. I think a lot of us are still in that kind of phase of whatever energy that it definitely brought onto it.
Are
So
you a
first,
Virgo?
yes, I am. I am. My
That's
birthday's on
right. So
Sunday.
we're opposites. That's why we get along so well. Yeah.
We do. We do. So I have to ask: Are you okay?
Am I okay?
Is
This
that a
is a
trick question?
question. Yeah, is it a trick question? No, but look, really, this is something, it's such a good question because I think no matter how sane I feel, every day I'm asking myself, what can I do to bring myself back to my center? What do I need in this moment to support myself? So, yes, I'm okay. I'm really good. But coming back to that question regularly makes me really okay.
Interesting, interesting. And I think, like, just for those that are jumping on and unsure, today is Are You Okay Day, which is centering around mental health and just asking the question, that a lot of us don't ask on a daily basis. Like, how often do you just randomly say, How are you? Are you okay?
Yeah.
I personally, I myself don't do it enough. I'm aware of that, and it's so important. And especially in this line of field, we're not doctors or counselors, and you'd probably agree as a psychic, like we do get a lot of people who are suffering from mental health come to psychics looking for that support, don't they?
Oh my goodness, this is a really important topic, Michael, and one that I'm very passionate about as an ethical medium because I recently, the other day, had to turn a client away because I knew that they were going through something much bigger than what I could help them navigate. And so I referred them to the professional services that could help them to navigate that. And I think it's so important that psychics and mediums really take this seriously because we are working with people that can be traversing some very vulnerable times. So, it's important that we handle with care and as ethically and humanely as possible. So, we always promote the services beyond blue, mental wellness, all of that on this show. So, yeah, we will continue to do that always.
Yeah, definitely. And why do you think like a lot of clients who are suffering in a way, in their own way, because I mean, it could be from a bad breakup, it could be from a marriage breakdown. I mean, as psychics, I know I've heard it all. Well, actually, I think I do, and then I still get surprised sometimes. But
Yeah.
why do you think people find comfort in us so much, as opposed to getting the professional help? Why do they think they come to us? Do you reckon?
I think intuitively it's a really great question. I think that there's less judgment. I think that they possibly feel safer. I think that it's possibly not as formal or structured. Maybe they don't feel like they're going to be criticized for saying or thinking or expressing how they feel. So, I can understand why people would seek that first. But really, we as professionals that are ethical we forward that on to the appropriate services if need be.
Yeah, and I think that's so important too. That we do that, because I feel maybe not everyone does, but I think it's important in this field that we, our job is to offer guidance and support where need be. So if we see someone who is potentially suicidal or is potentially just needing that more professional help, it's almost guiding them in a sense that it isn't a judgment thing, as you said. It actually, no one's ever going to be judged, and no one should be. Mental health is very real, and it's between the ages of 15 and 49, it's the most like suicide is the highest rate out of any other disease in the world.
Wow.
Like
That's
it's the highest in that.
staggering.
Yeah, between the ages of 15 and 49. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's actually the highest form of death than any like heart attack or anything. That's
Wow.
because of mental health. That's why it is so serious and important that we do talk about. Yes, this is a spiritual show. Yes, this is, so Siri just wanted to get involved. I'm just going to have to ask her to be
Oh,
quiet.
what's she
Siri's
trying to
joining the
contribute
chat.
to the conversation?
I think she was searching mental health. So yeah,
That
so
could
anyone
be
that's
necessary.
jumping, she knows me. She knows that anyway. No, I'm joking. You can joke about it, but anyone who's jumping on, I just want to remind everyone that this is a safe space. A bit of a disclaimer: we are talking about mental health tonight and forgiveness as well. We do want you to get involved if you feel like you can or want to. You don't have to talk about mental health yourself personally, but have you gone to a psychic instead of a counselor because you found comfort? I would love to know your thought process if you are willing to share that with us, or anything that you feel comfortable with. Please get involved with the chat. We want this to be a really interactive chat tonight. Of course, if there's any questions, we don't do psychic readings, but if you want to ask the Mermaid Medium any questions, whatever you feel like you want to ask, we can definitely look into that as well. But yeah, I want to have a really open discussion on mental health, and how it does affect the spiritual industry as well. What and don't feel like they well, that's so sad, and don't like how they feel alone. Yeah, and that's pretty much what it is. That's the problem with mental health, Beth. I'm a victim of mental health as well. I've not been down the suicidal path myself, but I have struggled with the black dog, and I still do to this day. It's just better managed, and my spiritual journey has really helped in that, which is probably a good topic too. Like spirituality, it can help. Obviously, we always recommend the professionals. You still need to speak to a psychologist, speak to a counselor. But how do you think spirituality can also help mental health?
Me?
Yeah, or anyone who wants to ask. But what do you think? How do you think, like, because I know with me personally, when I sort of went down the journey a little bit more, it yes, I was getting the professional help, but the spiritual journey also really helped me.
Yeah, I think it comes down to being in a community environment with very safe guidance. If you're going into, for example, a psychic circle or a spiritualist church or a class of some description, you want to make sure that you're with people that practice ethically, that have really strong energetic hygienic boundaries. You want to make sure that you're in good hands, because what you don't want is to be in a room with other people that have lots of leakages, lots of baggage, lots of vomiting the baggage out, lots of putting stuff onto other people. Do you know what I mean? Like all of the
Yeah,
issues that we all have, and some people are very aware and conscious of what they're moving through, and some people refuse to own their own stuff. So I think that this can be said for any industry, but you would hope that in the spiritual industry it's different, but it's really acute. It's absolutely out there. So you want to make sure that you're with reputable people. You want to make sure that you feel right in your own body and intuition, and always ask lots of questions. And I think the really important thing is as well, if something doesn't sit right for you, you don't have to swallow it and digest it. If it you take the best and leave the rest. If it's not for you, scatter it like ashes to the wind. So it's not about digesting everything. It's about really being discerning, and it's your practice. Yeah.
And as you said, I think that's really important to go with how you feel. Like if you're turning to spirituality, or any sort of religion in general, but obviously being a psychic show, speaking of spirituality more, again, like you said, if it doesn't fit or if it doesn't feel right, don't sort of force it. Just let yourself just be guided to what feels right. And if you're going to take comfort in whatever that might look like, then if that works for you, go for it, kind of thing. Like that's the great thing about sort of any religion, really. There's no judgment. If you feel peace and comfort in what it is that you believe in, then go with that. Don't worry about the white noise or the background noise. Just do what works for you.
You do you, boo.
You do you, boo. Definitely. I would love to hear anyone's stories. If anyone's got anything that they want to share in the comments, don't be afraid. Again, this is a safe space. It is Are You OK Day, so we are talking a little bit about mental health in the spiritual world. But also, too, I want to sort of talk about forgiveness as well, because they're very connected. And, quite often as a psychic, I know for me personally, a lot of questions I get about, jobs and relationships, and, when relationships don't work or when jobs don't work out, you come to us hoping to find answers that you're trying to seek and get guidance around that. And I think the first thing that I've learned in my time that I'm sort of sharing with my clients now is learning to forgive ourselves. And, taking that sort of, especially around the heart area, like just learning to forgive. If that relationship didn't work out, or if that job didn't work out, or whatever, or you didn't get what it is that you were going to get, finding forgiveness in that.
Absolutely. And, embracing the pivot. Sometimes we're not meant to be facing due north. Maybe we're meant to sort of pivot and be like northwest. So it's really important to understand that things are happening for us, not to us. Sometimes we can take things really personally. And I think that one thing that I see a lot as a teacher of all sorts of subjects is that people, particularly adults, are really scared of failure. And I always say failure is first attempt in learning, or fourth attempt in learning, or final attempt in learning. To fail is to learn, to grow. If we don't fail,
I just realized, this is how dumb I am. I just realized that spells failure. Don't want to fail. I'm like, that seems too ironic, but no, I understand
Michael,
what you
forgive
did there.
yourself.
Yes.
But
so what was that again? Sorry, repeat that. So the fail, how you spell it.
First attempt in learning, or fourth, or final, or anything. It's just basically saying, how do we learn if we don't fail? Of course we're going to fail. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. If you think about a child learning to walk, how many times do they fall down? 1 million, and they get back up again, because they're not clouded by that, oh my God, I did it wrong. I'm not ever going to achieve this. I better not try it again, and shut down. So that sort of element of forgiveness and moving forward, not being frozen by fear, I feel that a lot of that self-forgiveness thing is wrapped up in a lot of other people's expectations as well. But, often we're our own worst critic. Like sometimes we're really hard on ourselves, and that's quite stifling. So I think that if you create the toolkit, because not all of us are born with it, not all of us are given it through our parentage, not all of us are educated about the toolkit. But if you acquire your own toolkit, and that truly is your responsibility as an adult, take full accountability for your own life, because I think that as well, people can fall into the victim, poor me mentality.
Yeah.
Get on with it. Put your big boots on. and find a way to move forward. And I know that sounds really tough, but we've all got to do it, you know? Otherwise, you
And I
stay
think,
stuck.
well, that's exactly it. So, yeah, it might sound tough, and people might be listening to that going, well, stuff, yeah, like, I don't,
Yeah,
whatever. But it's like, yeah, but being stuck in where you are now and not moving forward is like, what's that serving? Like,
exactly.
are
And
you
baby
truly, unless you're
steps.
truly happy, but
Yeah.
really.
And baby steps. And, some people, like if we were talking about this in relation to mental health, for example, you might think, I'm so paralyzed. I can't move. I'm just so in my head. I can't do anything, right? I'm consumed by fear. I'm consumed by sorrow, or I'm consumed by anxiety, crippling depression, whatever. Um, but even if you take that one little step, that one little shuffle, and it might be to reach out to somebody. I had somebody reach out to me the other day and say, I need help. I think I need to go to hospital. And so immediately I took that person to hospital and responded, because that was huge for them to
And we're
reach
talking,
out.
that was a mental health, not for
That was a
like an
mental
actual,
health.
not a
Absolutely.
medical. Yeah.
No, that was a mental health situation. And it was a choice, because they could have continued to stay stuck in the loop that they were in. But that simple yet huge gesture of just sending a text message and asking for help changed the trajectory, possibly, of their life, you know? So it can be as simple as sending a text. It can be as simple as picking up the phone. I know that this can be overwhelming if you're stuck, but you know, there's some parts that you do have to do for yourself.
You definitely do, and you're right on that sense. Like, so for those that are just jumping on, welcome. This is again a safe space. It is Are You Okay Day, so we are talking about mental health and forgiveness around that as well, and bringing spirituality into it, trying to tie it all together in a nice little golden bow tie. And I totally get that. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be watching either live now or later down the track, and are probably going to say the obvious. It's too hard to send that text. It's too hard to make that phone call. And
Yeah.
I've been there. I understand it is. It's first of all, I do want to say that it's not a weakness. So I
No.
think it's really important that you understand that reaching out or asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. It
Yeah.
really is a huge sign of strength. But I do understand, it is difficult at times. And there's definitely little steps, as you were saying, that you can take. Sending a text or asking physically someone for help is too hard at first. What advice or what sort of would you say to that person to get the ball going, to maybe lead to that text or phone call that needs to happen? What could they do to make themselves feel a little bit better in the meantime?
Okay, well, this is assuming that there's not, something extremely crippling going on that is entirely debilitating at all, right? I would say that you need to find evidence in your brain. You need to find evidence around you that you have done challenging and hard things before. So you need to reflect back to those moments in your life, and it could be, I passed that driving test. I can do
Mm.
hard things. It might be, um, I went for that job interview and I got the job. I can do hard things. It might be, I asked that person out and we ended up in a relationship. I can do hard things. It might be, I decided to start exercising and eating right and I lost 20 kilos. I can do hard things, you
I
know?
love that.
So
So
it's
simple.
so simple, but very effective and powerful. So it's about finding evidence and forging new neural pathways. And look, if you're in the depths of depression, or let's say you've lost, oh, God forbid, a child, you might not be in the place where you can comprehend and compute logical thoughts. And that is where I would say it's little tiny baby shuffling steps. It might be getting out of bed and having a shower that day. It might be
Yeah,
as simple as
and that's actually really so. For those that are unaware, and I know people probably hearing this conversation thinking, "Oh, what are these two kind of know?" I do want to clarify. I'm actually a trained counselor, a qualified trained counselor. So I actually do work as a counselor on the side, as a psychic, and I know Mermaid. I keep on using your real name, but I don't know if it's like ooh mysterious. And I know you've got your trained experiences as well. So we are somewhat trained, well, not somewhat, we are trained people in this field, so we are able to have these conversations, I feel, on a more sort of professional level. But just adding to what you were just saying there, the textbook with counseling is, describing that sort of, grim kind of example that you just sort of gave, whether it's a loss of a child or a person or a lover, or any really form of loss that's caused you to go into that sort of spiral. As you said, it is the first thing I sort of say as a counselor or work on is, if you can just make your bed and that's the only thing you've done today, that's a success. That's an achievement. If having a shower, and if that's the only thing you've done today, don't look at it as all I've done is made the bed. You've made the bed.
Amazing.
Celebrate that almost. That's one thing. And then the next time, maybe the next day we have a shower, and then the next day we wash the dishes, and the next day we, and then by the end of the week, you've made the bed, you've had a shower, you've cooked yourself a meal, you put some fresh clothes on. They're steps,
Absolutely.
And it's not an overnight fix. And that's what we've got to go, if it takes time, and it's just being okay with that. And it's such a cliche and you hear it all the time, but it does get better with time. It really gets better.
Time does support healing. And, I remember when I lost my brother, and he passed in his sleep when he was 15 years old. There was never any real description as to why. So it was a very loose end sort of situation. And I just remember feeling like the world had stopped, and how was everybody else in the world functioning around me, because it felt to me like time should stand still, because that was my experience, that was my inner world. I had a similar experience when I was a child, and I found my grandmother dead in the bathtub, and I lived with her. Total trauma, yes, but also like my world as I knew it had collapsed. So there are so many hard things that humans go through that some of us cannot even imagine. So we're not by any means saying that it's like a band-aid fix. It takes time. And I think the biggest thing is to really be gentle on your heart and allow yourself the time and process that grief often comes in waves, you know? So, yeah, as you would know, Michael, in your experience. Yeah.
And grief too also does last forever, which a lot of people, when I say that, kind of go, oh, that sounds really bad. I go, well, it's not. But it's when I say grief lasts forever, it's because we never forget. We move forward, and that's the important part of grieving. There's I should know the stages. I think there's 7.
Yeah.
Or 6, something like that.
7 stages.
7. There is 7. Yeah, I thought so. God.
There's a play written about it, I think, called The 7 Stages of Grieving.
Yeah, and I think the modern day, they're kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit now. I mean, everything's getting changed and challenged, which I love these days. But they're sort of adding an 8th step now to the grieving process with the modern day technology, and they're actually calling it the deleting phase. So apparently the 8th stage of grief is now delete.
Delete. And what's that phase about?
Deleting that person. So deleting them off your social medias, deleting their number, deleting like that person out of your life completely, block and delete. It's such a modern thing that we do now. So if that relationship, for example, didn't work out, or that marriage didn't work out, we grieve. And they're sort of saying now the modern day technology, well, modern day generation, they're adding yeah, they're finding with I don't know how they study this, but anyway, I'm not going to question that. But apparently they're finding that the final stages a lot of people do now is block and delete, which I've
Mm,
done, but you kind of do that because, well, that's part of the removal. But they're actually
mm.
it's such a big thing now that they've added it as like an actual phase of grieving.
Wow, that isn't it interesting how things morph and change? And yeah, I suppose that would be a very different experience if it was like the loss of a loved one, or you
Mm.
know, yeah, the loss of a loved one, like the death of a child or a parent or something, you know?
Yeah, that's a bit different.
Mm.
But then we also grieve differently too, and some of us don't even do
Yes.
the whole stages. Some of them we
Mm-hmm.
skip. We can skip. Anyway, a little bit off topic, but it's so fascinating, and
Oh, it is.
it's just the only reason why I'm talking, and I know production and probably Psyche TV production might look back in this and go, wasn't really a spiritual show. I acknowledge that we're going to keep it on topic as much as we can, but because it is Are You OK Day, I just, and
Mm.
mental health is like a huge part of my life, in not just personally, but also the passion I have about trying to, I'm not going to use the word fix because that's the wrong word to use, but just the discussions around that mental health that needs to happen. I just think, today's a really just good day to have that. And, anyone that's going to stumble upon this live at some stage in the near future might hear our conversation, think, I can relate. I'm not alone, because you're not alone. And I really want to highlight that to everyone.
Absolutely. And I
We're
think
here,
it's
we're talking
it's
about it.
powerful for us to talk about it because I think also in the industry that we're in, you know, psychics can be called terrible names. Like there's forever been, names thrown like charlatans and this and that. And I think it's really important to know that there are a lot of incredibly ethical psychics and mediums out there that
I
truly
do. I'm
care.
going to bring, I don't know. Yeah, I don't, you probably can't see the comments, can you? Because you're on your phone.
No, I can't see.
Okay, so I'm going to bring this up. I don't know if you better see it on your screen, but I'll read it out to you. It looks like it's quite a long question, and it looks like it's so long that it actually hasn't fitted in the whole thing. So I'm just going to read what Michelle has
What you
just
see.
said.
Yeah. Oh, I
So
see
she
that.
said, okay, so I suffer from depression and anxiety when my husband passed 2.5 years ago. When he
Mm,
passed away, I just wanted to die right alongside of him. I
mm.
didn't think that I could go on living without him. Everyone that knew me tried to get me to see a psychologist and to get some therapy. I found great comfort and help talking to a psychic medium. And I'm so grateful for what they did for me. I gained a lot of knowledge from them and see things much differently now. I still haven't, and then it hasn't. I don't know what the rest of that is, Michelle. So I'm sorry it's not letting me see what the rest is. But I love the fact that when we were talking about this before, so she
Mm.
obviously, rather than going to see a psychologist, which maybe that's changed over time, I don't know, but she found comfort talking to a medium.
Yeah, absolutely. And many, many people do. Like, as you would know, we see hundreds and hundreds of clients and speak to people, yeah, both over the phone in person. And people do come in confidence with their most vulnerable, soul-bearing stuff. And we have these tender hearts in our hand, which is why it's very important that we take our job seriously and make sure that we're supporting the people that are before us, because it's such an honor working with spirit and humans in the physical. So Michelle, I'm so sorry that you lost your husband. It's not easy. And what I imagine that you said afterwards is that, yeah, you're still going through that process in on some level. So thank you for sharing that. That was
Yeah,
really
thank you so
powerful.
much, Michelle, for that. That is beautiful, and our hearts, I can speak for both of us, do go out to you. And I mean, two and a half
Yeah.
years, that's still fresh.
Yeah.
And remember to, I think I love, just quickly, Lifeline 13, 11, 14. If anyone does need help, or if there's any been triggers in tonight's show, I know we've talked a bit of heavy stuff. But yeah, Lifeline, there is Beyond Blue. I work directly with Lifeline, 13, 11, 14. There is a trained counselor on the other ends to help you. Again, if you can't send that text or phone call to your friend or loved one, call Lifeline. It's anonymous, and they are trained counselors that can help you on the end. Lifeline's I can't tell you how many times they've saved me, you know. So don't be afraid to call Lifeline if you need to, or Beyond Blue. There's so many options. But yeah, Michelle, thank you so much for sharing, and I love the fact that you found comfort in a psychic medium. And I can only imagine, the bonds that because obviously, if you go to a psychic and you don't vibe or you don't get along, it's like, I always sort of joke and say, finding the right psychic is like finding the right pair of sunglasses. You got to try a couple on.
It's true. And this is such a powerful point, Michael, because we're all very different, and we need lots of us, in actual fact, that do great jobs, because all of the people that come to us, you will find there's a particular type of flavor. I mean, I certainly know there's a particular type of person that will always come back to me, and they're really fabulous repeat clients, and of course you get your new people, but different psychics are really for different people. So thank God there's so many different ones.
Yeah, and keep finding. Like if you,
Mm.
I mean, look, it can get expensive. I understand that. We're dealing with financial issues enough as it is. So I understand that you kind of want to find the great psychic first. But in saying that, do your research. Do your research. So I just got a text message that came up on my screen. Normally I have them turned off when I go live, and I've got someone who is watching the show right now. Just wanted to privately say thank you for talking. You've helped me. They don't want to put it in the thread, but they've just texted to say, I'm just watching the background and you've actually helped me today. Just from just talking. Amazing. So that's why I'm doing this. I know it's a bit off topic tonight, but I just call me psychic, but I just had this feeling that people just need these conversations tonight.
Look, it's the perfect day for it. Are you okay day? I can't imagine a better conversation, Michael.
I didn't even plan. I didn't even know today was Are You Okay Day.
You must be psychic.
Well, I went online and it told me. But I had no idea until literally I was speaking to Mermaid backstage, and I swear to you, she came on about 1:45, like 15 minutes before the show started, and I had literally just found out then. I didn't even know prior to going live. So I thought, okay, there's obviously a thing
it was
for
meant
that.
To be.
But yeah, what I was quickly going to say with the psychic stuff is if you do come across, obviously word of mouth, things like that. If someone's recommended someone, I get a lot of my clientele through word of mouth, and that's probably a great way to trust something.
The most reputable.
Yeah, if it's word of mouth. But then again, that person might have had a really great experience, and the word of mouth recommendation, that person doesn't,
True.
So,
but if you're thinking about, like, in terms of advertising, word of mouth is very powerful.
Oh, huge. But what I was going to quickly say is, if you are researching psychics, like if you're, say it's not a word of mouth, you've come across someone, whether you've seen them on a Facebook page, they've been advertised in a group or whatever, do your research. Every psychic has reviews. They've got a background. Find their business page, find their website, find, companies they work for. Do your research and get your vibe, because don't sort of, unless, in saying that, I can kind of challenge what I'm saying in a sense that sometimes we see a post and that's the psychic you meant to call because you just randomly saw them pop up. Trust that intuition as well. But I always say to anyone who's sort of searching for example, don't be afraid to do your research. You would for any other things that you purchases that you're going to make. Psychics are no different. Do your research. See if you vibe.
You want intuition and logic as a package.
And trust them. And Chloe, you've said it's a tough time dealing with the energy of the world. Yeah, don't get me started. Today is a particularly difficult one. It really helps finding comfort in spirit. I'm sorry that you're having a difficult one today. Love and light to you as well. But yeah, the world, that's a tough one. That really is a tough one.
It is. There's so
and it's
many
hard
things.
and it's hard to sometimes shut that noise out as well.
Absolutely. And this is where I feel that when we build our connection with not just our spirit team, but ourself and our wellness, then we have an anchor, because there's always going to be good times and bad times. That's the nature of the game of life. And so if we are the anchor and we, sort of really dig deep and have that, and sometimes we can't be the anchor for ourselves. Sometimes we need that support. Like we were saying this earlier, but yeah, it is tough times. People, especially young people, are going through things that the world has never seen before. And technology is at the forefront of that. When I say technology, everything's technology, but digital technology and a lot of that sort of stuff is at the forefront, and it's just really changed the way that humans are
100%.
experiencing the
And it's
world.
it's so true that because I mean we were talking birthdays and age before. So we're on the same era. We're born at the same
Mm.
time. We're only a year apart. It's my birthday this Sunday. You hold the birthday messages for later. But we kind of see our, well, I say I don't have children, but the generation being born today, they're being born into this, so they don't know any different. Whereas we kind of grew up, there were no smartphones when you and I were born. The
No,
internet hadn't even come out yet.
no, it was
Now we're
like,
showing our
you
age.
know, yeah, it was definitely like come home when the street lights go on, you know.
Basically,
And yeah, I think the
there
first
was
phone
no,
I ever had was when I was 18. It was a big brick Nokia.
yeah, mine was a yeah, the Nokia, and you could change the front of it, different covers. You have different
Yes.
colors and stuff, and then
And
the
you
big,
pay Snake.
snake. Yeah, I know people don't even know what that is. And then yeah, and then like, and then obviously we can't mention brands, but then a particular brand bought out a phone, which is now the rival of one of the biggest smartphone brands out there. But they bought out a phone with a blue screen, and everyone lost their minds because it was blue. The screen was
Oh
blue,
wow, yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
then color foam, and that started. Oh my god, we lost our minds. But
Yep.
we sort of grew into it, and yeah, it's interesting. Like I couldn't even imagine being born now and what that would be like. With just there's so
Just
much.
a whole new set of challenges that are big, that are big. Yeah. I mean, of course, there's pros and cons. We're not going to go down like it's all bad, but there is a whole lot of other things to deal with. So sometimes you really have to dig deep to find the sunshine.
You do, and I think with spirituality, it definitely plays almost a bigger fact. Like we as light workers have almost had to work harder now because there's so much cleansing and there's so much toxic sort of technology energy out there that you know it's almost like we're working overtime to kind of keep things balanced and grounded
And
because no
yeah,
one looks up anymore.
yep, look up and look at the sun, get that light in your eyes every single day, get that early morning sunshine in your eyeballs, go for the walk, get the vitamin D on your skin. And, really, the healing of humanity is found in the natural world. You will
Mm.
find healing, you will find connection in nature. That is where we need to return, like come back to it. I'm not saying this is like a tree hugging hippie, although hugging trees have been proven to be very beneficial.
Or
So
just put
I'll
your
say
just put.
it.
Oh look, I yeah. When if I'm alone, I will hug a tree. I don't sort of do it in public now because I get weird stares. Um, but just putting your bare feet on grass, actual grass,
Yep,
not because
yep.
everything's almost fake these days. But actual, go to a garden if you don't have a backyard, because a lot of us do live in apartment living now. Go to your local botanical gardens or just your local park and just sit. Like spring's now coming, summer's coming now in Australia,
Mhm.
so there's nothing more stronger than just putting bare feet on grass,
Yep, just
and
grounding.
just switching off for a few minutes. It doesn't have to be long. Even if it's just 5-10 minutes of your day, just put your phone in your pocket, put your feet on the grass and just stand in the sun for just 5 minutes and tell me that you don't feel just a little bit better after.
Exactly. This is what I would say. I would use this analogy because it's powerful. Imagine putting your phone on the charger and it's just like the best charger you've ever found. It's powerful, it works quickly. That's what we do as human beings when we put our feet on the earth. We're charging our life force back up. And I believe that, so, without being a conspiracy theorist, I believe that so many of the external distractions that are potentially created to distract us are trying to take us away from our natural experiences. So yeah, if you're smart and you want to keep it simple, get into the natural world.
I love how you used a modern day analogy with
I know,
like an
it
every. I liked
works.
that. See,
It works.
but the thing is too, like with the the apparent 8 stage of grieving being delete and block, we kind of do have to adapt as a spiritual, because we
Yeah.
are on our phone. I mean, people are watching us on their phones right now.
Literally,
That's the
we are
reality.
we are on devices. So we're not like poo-hooing technology and devices, but there's a time and a place, right? So you have to be, as a smart human being, you have to choose your time and place and not be all consumed.
Michelle is back in the thread. She has elaborated by saying, I believe that talking with psychics and mediums was the best way for her to be helped with her grieving process. She's so grateful for what they have done for her. I've learned so much from them and see things differently now. I'm here today because of them.
Incredible.
That's a big statement. I love that.
That's very powerful. I feel like that needs to go on the website. Jane, if you're watching, that's such a good one. Testimonial, client testimonial.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I'm here today because of them. And it's so, and she's also said, you guys are amazing and are a great help to many people. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. And
Thank you,
the
Michelle.
love back out to you, Michelle. Like,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know what? I think
sitting with that for a minute. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's huge. I was just thinking about how blessed I always feel when I am reading clients, because it not only, it makes me think, sure, but because we're talking to spirit as a medium, because I'm talking to spirit, all of these light bulb moments are popping off in my head because they're communicating what's going on for them on the other side too, right? So we've got this reality, but then there's the other energetic plane upon which spirit resides. And this moment of connection between the two, it never ceases to amaze me. And it's so humbling. It's so, so greatly humbling, because it takes a lot of energy for them to bring information through, and not only that, but the messages are usually around love, and usually we're touching on forgiveness, right? And I always say to clients, we never forgive anyone for them. We forgive if we choose to forgive. We do it for our own healing.
Yeah.
And our own self. Yeah.
Definitely, 100%.
That's a big one that comes up for people,
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I also do want to give a shout out because I've just, again, talk about being aware, Michael. Hello. It is September 11.
9/11.
9/11. So to all our American viewers, or anyone that's been touched by September 11 in 2001, please tell me I'm right.
I can't even remember off the top of my head.
I'm pretty sure it's 2001. Oh my God, I am so sorry if that is wrong. I should know that. But most of us would be familiar with September 11. So I just want to give a shout out to American audiences, or again, anyone who has been a victim or affected. Our love goes out to you today or tomorrow. I think the timing, actually, I think it's September 11 there now. So yeah. So are you okay day, mental health, like there's a lot of heaviness, and I do sort of let's bring the light now. Let's lift this up a little bit before we're about to wrap up.
We're going to finish on a high note.
Yes. So
if I was pulling a tarot card right now, it would be the sun.
Why the sun? And you know what's funny? As just before you said that, I just got a vision of a sunflower.
Ah, beautiful. Well, that's very common
Yeah.
on the card. Why the sun? Because it's my favorite in the deck. It's just the ultimate shiny, optimistic card, right? It means there's hope. It means there's light at the end of the tunnel. It means the sun is this ever giving source of life and light, you know? That's why I choose the sun, because we're going to end it on a positive.
We're going to end on the light. So what one bit of advice or general advice could you give to everyone who might be suffering, who might just feeling a bit lost? Where should they start, and what advice could you give to that person?
Well, you're never alone, okay? First of all, reach out, even if it takes every ounce of strength you have. Reach out, seek help, and know that you can do hard things and you're going to move through this. It's a phase or it's a season in your life, and it will not last forever.
Even though it might feel like it will, it doesn't.
Even though it might feel like it will, there are just so many other things ahead of you.
And I think that's important to know too. It's just, even though you might not see that now, or you might be kind of, I really want to believe, but I can't, because I'm just so stuck in this headspace. It's There's no, even as a counselor, even as a psychologist, there is no like light switch fix to anything. It is, as we said before, it is really time.
Mm.
Trusting and believing, and just, even if you don't believe, just, I don't want to say fake it till you make it, but it's almost like just telling yourself it is going to be okay. You may not believe it in here, you might be thinking logically, but eventually your head and your heart do catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. The power of our thoughts are incredible. The power of the spoken word. Words carry vibration, so choose your words and thoughts wisely. Also, you are a sum of the top 5 people that you hang out with all the time. So choose the people around you, your circle, very carefully as
You know
well.
what? It's funny that, because it's took a little bit of time here. I've got about 5 minutes left. But just on that, it's so important because, and that this is actually something that it's taken me a little bit longer to work out, because I'm thinking, okay, I've done everything. I'm feeling really great here at home, at work, blah, 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 whatever. But I'm still not 100%. And I realized I was around people who were beautiful people and were supportive friends, but was so negative, and I wasn't seeing it until I kind of had to step out and go, oh, I love you, but
Yeah.
I don't think like we can really hang out as much anymore because you're bringing me down. And it's kind of
Some
discovering
people
that.
you need to love from afar, and that's okay. Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I think it is important. Like, you know, like I said, if you feel like you've done a lot of healing in a lot of areas, but you still aren't that sort of high vibration that you're hoping for, have a look at who you're surrounding yourself with, because there could be a few people that maybe you just need to love from afar.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to love you close, because I love having you on this show, and I've loved the conversations. I kind of threw you a bit in the deep end tonight, so I do apologize.
Don't
But you've handled it
apologize.
well.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I loved the discussion tonight. And I'm definitely going to go back and rewatch, because
Yeah, me too.
I kind of was like in the moment, but I kind of almost just want to just listen.
Yeah.
Michelle, just quickly, love and light. Michelle, you were meant to find us today. A very interesting live. I know it was very different tonight. I'm so happy that I caught you here today. I'm still struggling with depression, but you always make me feel that I really am not alone, and what I'm going through. So thank you for talking about this subject. You are so, Anna's saying that you're gorgeous. We all know that. She is absolutely gorgeous.
You're so gorgeous, Anna. Thank you.
But
beautiful.
Michelle, to anyone who's watching, if you've resonated, which I know you have, if you didn't want to speak up because you just wanted to just listen, you're welcome. We hope that you have helped. Of course, there are many numbers you can call, Lifeline included, on 13 11 14. There are a trained counselor. If you feel like you can't reach out to a friend because you might be embarrassed or you just aren't ready yet, you can call Lifeline. There's Beyond Blue. There are so many Australian numbers. Overseas, you'll have to find your number if you're overseas, not in Australia. There are definitely support out there. If you feel comfortable in speaking to a psychic, remember, we're not counselors or psychologists. We're here to guide and offer you readings, but definitely, like Michelle, who's found comfort, if it works for you, hey, go for it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on tonight. I will have you back on very soon in the future. And
always a pleasure.
Yeah, just thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. And have the best birthday weekend.
I will. I will. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that has watched tonight. Of course, if you do want a psychic reading, you can go to Psychic TV. Psychic TV Australia.com or Psychic TV International.com, and the available psychics are Ben on pin 9166, Judith Sky on 9125, and Natalie Norman Baker on 9810. Thank you to everyone that has watched tonight. Like I said, a bit of an off-topic, sort of unusual, not unusual, but just, you know, not a typical sort of show that we run tonight, but obviously with everything going on with Are You OK Day, and both Mermaid Medium and myself trained in our mental health fields, we did want to have just a mental health kind of conversation. I think it's appropriate. And I know a lot of you will gain something from tonight. I am back next Thursday with Jackie Crystal. So Jackie Crystal will be joining me next week, same time, same place. So we're going to have another beautiful chat with the amazing Jackie Crystal next week. So don't miss next week's show. Of course, you can catch Harry this Saturday at 8 o'clock for live shows where he does mini readings as well. So you've got Harry this Saturday. You've got me with Jackie Crystal next Thursday. I'm celebrating my birthday this weekend, so I am going to go off and do that. Thank you, everyone. And remember, there's always support, and you're never alone. You're never alone. Something to definitely just remind yourself.